Hello, and welcome to Keeper's Corner Podcast, where we're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. With your hosts, as always, Matthew Sterling, Michelle Brooks, and Brandon Brooks. Let's go. Hello, welcome to another edition of the Keeper's Corner Podcast. Matt and Brandon back, and Brandon, those were kind of some stinkers on this trip down to Mexico.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things that, you watch it and it's kind of like a train wreck. You don't want to watch, but you can't look away. At least one of the games was definitely like that. But the second one wasn't much better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Half of each game was competitive. And then everything got out of hand in the other half.
Yeah, the second half was not our friend over the weekend. Not at all. I mean, a lot of factors at play, but in the spirit of next man up, you still got to try and pull it out. And don't get me wrong, the guys on the turf did fairly well. I didn't see a ton of mistakes over the weekend, even with such a change in the roster. But there's definitely some still there. And they got capitalized on hard.
Yeah, it was. Well, I guess we'll start at the beginning with Utica's first trip to Chihuahua, taking on the Savage at CUM Arena, Corner Sports Arena. And boy, this game got out of hand at the end. What looked like it was going to be everything we had hoped for, close and competitive, and this is what we want. Well, eventually, Chihuahua realized that Utica didn't bring a single defender with them and put up 14 on City. A 10-goal loss, something that I had hoped not to see for many, many years after seeing it last year.
Do you want me to make it worse?
Sure.
We lost to them worse than Dallas lost to them. Dallas lost to them by 9. We lost to them by 10.
You mean that Dallas team that blew a 3-goal lead in the fourth quarter and still doesn't have a win on the season?
Yeah, that one.
Have we learned that defense is important yet? Because I feel like we learned that lesson, and I know Logan was injured and Steph was out because of the DEM suspension, and I'm assuming Toby couldn't go due to visa issues.
Yeah, that's my guess as well.
Whatever made it so difficult just to get him to play in this country, I'm sure they were not going to let him leave.
And that's kind of that was my assumption when I saw that he was not going to be, when he was not playing on Friday.
That Correa's injured. Kind of surprised we didn't at least take Ricky.
Actually, I kind of knew before the game because of their social media. The fact that they had posted like all the guys at dinner.
Yeah.
In Monterrey. Based on that, and literally went through with a friend of mine and named off every single one that was around the table, like who they were, and just seeing the fact that certain people weren't there. It's like, yeah, no Logan, no Toby, of course, no Mijatovic. Yeah, it was. As soon as you see that and you see, okay, we're back to glass cannon. We have to come out. We have to score a lot because we're going to get scored on a lot. And you know what? We did that for a little while against Chihuahua. If you literally just take the first half, it was a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a close game. It looked good. I mean, we went into the half competing very well. Yep. It was maybe 5-3, but it didn't feel that bad because it only got that bad because of that shorthanded goal that we gave up on the power play, and we failed to capitalize twice in the first half.
Yes.
You convert one of those and don't give up the shorthanded goal, and there you have it. Like, it's a tie game at the half.
Yeah. And I mean, again, even the very beginning of the third quarter was like, we're still in this. You know, we had Gordy and Bond coming out just firing, not even a minute into the quarter, and we scored on them. It's like, okay, all right, we're here to play. We're definitely, you know, we're still in this. And that was all she wrote.
Yeah, because then what happens is my stat that tells the story. Chihuahua puts up 9 unanswered goals to end the game. Like, that... 9. Utica hasn't scored 9 goals in a game in 2 months.
Yeah, and they scored more. They scored more in a row unanswered against us than we've had been able to score in a single game.
And they did it in less than a full half. And it was just like I've said it before, when Utica had that chance in the past to, you know, be up and bury a team, and you just have to keep going until you see the lights fall out of their eyes. Chihuahua did that. They stepped on Utica's neck and did not stop.
No, they really didn't. They were out for, I don't know if this was like their, I don't think they were necessarily making a statement. It was more just like, no, we're not done. We're trying to crawl away slowly, you know, bleeding, just crawling across the turf, and they just drag us back.
Then, you know, we go 6 attacker, and we're already down 7 goals at that point. So, you know, let's drop a couple more in there.
At that point, it's just, I mean, before you say too much,
yeah,
I know how anti-6 attacker you are.
I'm not anti-6 attacker. I'm not
exactly
6 attacker with this team.
I'm not exactly a fan of it myself, but it at least kind of worked. I'm not gonna go any further than this for the second game, but at least kind of worked in the second game.
Yeah, yes and no.
Yes and no.
So on the weekend, we gave up 5 goals when we had 6 attacker on the field. We scored 2. The only reason we scored those 2 is because we were on a power play for both of them.
Yeah.
So we had a 6-4 advantage.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately the only time we were able to get it to work is when we were up 2 players.
Yeah, it's no. Bad taste in the mouth after this one. Like, I don't know. I just went to bed kind of grumpy.
I mean, I stayed up. I watched the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know, I stayed up till the end of the fourth. I mean, it hurt something fierce watching them go down, watch them just be absolutely disheartened the whole, you know, right towards the end. I mean, they were done. They just wanted nothing to do with it anymore. It's like, just get it over with.
It was an offensive juggernaut performance from Chihuahua. I mean, Coughlin had 19 saves and a .613 save percentage, which is a little below average, but not a terrible day.
Yeah. I mean,
so many shots.
But so did we.
Tiny field.
Yeah. Like, we had almost as many as them. We had 3 less. We had 43 shots to their 46, which is insane. Like, that is so many.
Yeah, and 26 of them got blocked.
The team that actually brought a defense.
Yeah. I feel like I'm taking all the stats that tell stories here.
Take 'em.
You got anything?
What's left?
I don't know.
Like, do you want me to tell them about the, you know, I don't even know. How many minutes went by in between goals? Like, what do you want from me?
How about a play that changed the game?
You gotta be kidding me, right?
No. The look on your face, though.
I wish people could see this.
You look
because
angry.
Literally, he says,
like you strangle me.
gotta play the change the game, and I just look up at the camera and like, what are you, nuts?
I can think of two.
I can think of one.
Okay, go for it.
And that was the shorthanded goal that you already mentioned, that you already talked about because you already talked about everything else.
Yeah, but I barely talked about it.
I mean, true. But yeah, the fact that we gave up a shorthanded goal and then still could not capitalize on the power play bothered me. That was like, okay. I was thinking to myself at that point, we gave up that goal. It was definitely unfortunate, but maybe, as long as we capitalize on the power play, okay, then it's not going to be that bad. It's just going to be a tit for tat, 1-for-1. And then it just didn't happen. It just really got frustrating at that point that, we didn't capitalize on it. And I don't know why. Like, I know that we can capitalize on that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've seen it. But we just couldn't seem to get our feet. I don't know if we just couldn't get our feet under us, or we just, jet lag. I don't know. There's so many things you could say that, oh, well, maybe it was this, or maybe it was that, or maybe it was this, but I'm not going to sit here and try and throw out excuses. So it's just, yeah, we could not seem to do much else after that goal specifically. I mean, they scored on that power play. They scored a shorthanded on the power play, scored one more time. We got one more in, and then, that was the landslide.
Yeah.
That was like the beginning of the end at that point.
I mean, yes and no. We competed to start the third quarter. And my play that changed the game has less to do with plays on the field and more to do with baffling decisions by officials again. And I'm not saying this cost Utica the game. I don't think they win that even if everything goes perfectly. Not with no defense.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't play well enough to win. But with 12:28 left, gone in the third quarter, so 3:32 remaining. 2:32. Gordy takes a shot. Ivan Munoz saves it. And then on his distribution, it appears that he goes over the line to throw the ball back out.
Mm-hmm.
Still a ball in his hands. Utica challenges. And the officials say nothing to overturn. And then you get Nilton with a yellow card, and the meltdown came right there. Just couldn't, the Utica guys, you watch it on the field, They could not believe. And I'm at home yelling at my TV because we see the replay that the officials are seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, if you're going to look at an angle for if a guy crosses a line, wouldn't you want something from the side of the line to tell if they're in front of or in back of where the ball is?
I mean, you would think so, yeah.
Or would you want one from above and behind them, giving you one of the worst angles possible?
I don't know. That kind of sounds perfect. I think that would be the best one to have.
Because the officials use the one from behind the goal, where you can't tell if he's across the line or not. They used them both, yes, but they looked at that one more than they looked at the other one.
Yeah,
and it's just baffling. It's baffling. Like, I'm a huge proponent of giving the officials replay and challenges.
Oh yeah,
but square peg, round hole here, people. Come on.
Hey, if you really try, you can get a square peg into a round hole.
You might be able to get a round peg in a square hole.
Yeah, that's usually not the way I do it.
Oh, my lord. But just like, that angle shouldn't have even been involved.
No, it really shouldn't.
What are you looking at? And then you got the mod in chat. Anyone who's just going like, what are these officials doing? Like, nah, you can't say that. Well, the officials can't call the game. So this came like 3 minutes after Utica got called for a blue card that absolutely should have been called immediately.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it came in late. His feet were off the turf. It was a high tackle. and it took Chihuahua challenging it to get the officials to get it right. Like, I'm not blaming the officials. They were bad both ways. They were just bad.
So I'm going to kind of take this a different angle.
Yeah.
Because this is less about, for me, this conversation is less about the game itself and more about Twitch chat and mods taking control.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, this is something that refs typically should do before things get bad. And that is take control before things are allowed to escalate. That's what mods are doing when they do that stuff. At least that's what I would do. If I was in their shoes, I would be doing the same thing, because I do mod for a couple of channels. I have run my own channel. It's like, and I have to actively mod for my own. You quash things before they get going, because it can escalate so quickly that you just, I mean, we've seen it escalate when there's no mods in the chat. So I'm going to fully defend mods taking control before things get out of control.
See, it's one thing for me if you're like, oh, that's clearly offensive, you're being derogatory, you are insulting them. It's another thing if you're giving criticism.
Yeah.
And this, it was, you know, it comes across as the league looking like any criticism, we can't have it. Kind of like when Lemos got upset about the goalie change a couple of years ago, and they're like, yeah, you're suspended a game because you didn't like our rule. Well,
again, the way I look at it is, yes, I do understand. I definitely understand that we should be allowed to be critiques, be critics about it. But the thing is every game, every sporting event, people are going to be yelling at refs. No, one side or the other is never going to be happy. You know it. I know it. And as soon as you let one person go with a comment, and then someone else comes with a comment and says, why didn't you delete theirs, but you deleted mine? Then it just starts a whole thing and a big fight that doesn't need to be done. So in my mind, just blanket statement. Anybody says anything bad against officials, fine. They've taken a stance. They have taken a stance in the Twitch chat, and that is, don't badmouth officials, period.
Well, I'll stop bad-mouthing officials when officials stop bad-calling games so much that it hurts both teams' chances.
I am not saying you are wrong. I'm not saying...
Oh, no, I get the point. You're playing devil's advocate here, but yes. Like, my lord, I can't with this sometimes. With this league, I love the players. I love the sport. But my lord, they are soft and afraid of criticism.
SAWFT, soft.
And then, like, it's a distraction because Sunday's game, yeah, Utica got spanked again. But you know what? I'm watching the officials call a blue card every time. I go, yeah, that was a blue card. That was a blue card. Oh, my God, you guys. Like, again, not a huge fan of Sigic. We've had some complaints against him in the past.
He stepped up his game.
He was the one in charge, and it was a well-called game on Sunday.
Like, yeah, he is... I give Phil some credit here. I think that that's part of the reason why Sigic maybe has stepped up his game, because he knows he's going to be under a microscope every single week. Although I do want to, I don't know what her name was, but the referee I felt at the Chihuahua game,
the assistant one.
Yeah. I believe it's Jendi.
Yeah.
I felt she was very good.
She seemed to be pretty good. My issue was more with Kia Kia.
Depana? If that's probably how you say it.
Kia Soul.
Yeah, we're going to butcher these, so, But yeah, I felt that...
Do you remember the Kia Soul?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because it was a square just like this guy.
Wow. banned in the Twitch chat.
Yeah, I got to get a burner account for that.
All of a sudden, Keeper's Corner Pod has been banned. Well, crap.
All right, I'll be back with another one. Everyone's got all those email accounts from years ago and years ago.
Oh, I just have 2 accounts on my same email address.
Oh, that would work too. Yeah,
Yeah, you can do that.
Sweet.
Anyway. But no, I just wanted to call her out specifically because as I was watching the game, was letting things go that were not really penalty worthy and was calling everything that I could see when we were watching it, when she saw it anyway. So I don't know.
No, it was just those two.
You got to call out
glaringly bad moments that stood out for me.
She did have a couple that she missed. Don't get me wrong, but
the rest of the game was average for this league. But like those two were just, oh my lord.
Yeah.
How did you miss that blue card? And like, yeah, a lot of go to the box. That was, I couldn't believe it in real time that we got away with it.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, advantage. We're not even calling a foul. Are you sure he took out his shin?
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, 14-4, terrible ending, terrible game. Just another reminder that after drafting all offensive guys this year, we need a heavy investment in defense next year. Because we need depth. And that brings us to Sunday, taking on the Monterey Flash, where more suffering happened as Utica was shut out for the entire first half.
Woo!
We were outshot 22-13 in that time. And then we ended the game with a loss of 12-6.
Listen, they had a full game to get 12 points. We only got 6 in half that time. So
if we played the full game, what you're saying is this goes to overtime.
There you go.
We just forgot we were playing for 30 minutes.
Had to shake off the tequila.
I don't know, maybe, but like we did warn them about that last week.
Yeah, we did, but
no tequila, I don't think limited cervezas.
I don't know if they listened. I don't know. Yeah, no, it was very disheartening to see us go into the halftime with nothing to show for it. It definitely hurt us. It hurt fan morale, and I'm sure it hurt their morale just as much.
Yeah, because that made 12 straight unanswered goals between the two games.
Why you got to do that? Why you got to be so negative and just tack it on like that?
I mean, you could just call me Sir Points Out the Obvious a lot.
I hate it here. I'm leaving.
But we got to find positives out of this game. But before we do that, what's something that needs to improve?
Our offensive depth.
Our offensive depth.
What I mean by that is, offensive players that can transition back to defense because we have such a lack of defense. Anything happens to our three or four main defenders, Logan, Mijatovic, Kobe, and Correa, which it has.
Yeah.
We see what happens. Last year, who do we have on defense that is now back on offense?
Bo.
There you go.
Because last year we had too many injuries on defense and no depth back there again.
Yeah, and that's why it's like, boy, I really feel like we should have Bo on defense in those situations. And it did not feel like that. It felt like we were still trying to push up. The whole weekend, I have to say, we kind of played as if we had all of our defensive pieces. Like we were trying to be comfortable in the front half, in the offensive third. But the problem is that we had nothing to fall back on. I mean, there was multiple times I believe it was in Monterey, where they had breakaways. multiple times because we couldn't get back quick enough.
Oh, you mean like on that set piece where we just got our pocket picked on the pass across, and then it left Wilkin 1-on-1 in goal? Like,
speaking of,
Mr. Wilkin had a pretty good day other than the total number of goals, but again, an offensive onslaught.
That's listen, it may not be a stat that tells a story, but you know what? The fact that we got Brickwall Brian back for a game made me very happy.
9 goals allowed, but 22 saves for a .710 save percentage.
And yet again, that boils down to the fact that we didn't have a defense to block shots.
We blocked 8 shots.
Yeah. Out of how many?
39.
Yeah. So basically it was...
And they blocked 13.
It was basically Wilkin versus the offense because we just didn't have a defense to fall back on. And we didn't have the transition happening of offensive players transitioning back to defense.
Like 3 of those goals were, it was the first goal of the game, I think, where it's like, what was Wilkin supposed to do there? He was basically 1-on-1 again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was, there wasn't much.
It was like a defensive oopsie daisy.
It was. Yeah. And yeah, there wasn't a heck of a lot he was going to do in that situation. You know, he didn't have any support. He didn't have enough support, I will say. He had a little bit of support, but not much. And, you know, the ball got taken away and it's just like, all right, well, we're just going to pass between like 3 of us and good luck.
Yeah, it was, and then I had that takeaway on the set piece that we already talked about.
Yep.
And then there was one where it went off the post and he dove to get it. It got past him, went off the post, hit his back, and then went in.
Yep.
Like, well, there's 3 goals that 2 of those I definitely don't blame him for. The other one's kind of 50-50.
Yeah, I really felt bad for him at that one. You know, that really sucked, the fact that it ended up bouncing off of his back. You know, that's one of those ones that, as they always say, you know, oh, he's going to want that one back.
Like, we talk about an indoor goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. Look at like things that need to change. I mean, let's just say 6 attacker needs to change. We can't keep giving up goals unless we have 6v4 out there. It needs. I don't know. I
was pretty sure that they did change, at least at one point, the lineup for 6 attacker. Because I don't remember seeing Segura out there with that jersey on the entire time. I could be wrong. But I'd have to go back and rewatch it again.
Yeah, I'll be honest. In my rewatch at this point, I was just kind of going like, can this be over already, please?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I mean, Segura was definitely 6 attacker at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I actually opened it up right now. Bo was our 6th attacker at one point. It was not, Segura was still on the field, but Bo was our 6th.
Okay.
So it didn't make a difference because, you know, they basically chipped it over our heads and, you know, got it in goal. So it didn't matter how fast you were. We weren't going to recover it and get it back. But they at least have done somewhat of a different rotation. And so at least they're trying something new at that point. You know, this given the fact that the games went as poorly as they did, this just kind of felt like a weekend to just try stuff.
Yeah, like if you told me, you know, over the weekend we left with a 10-goal differential and lost both games, I'd be like, all right, we probably got blown out by Chihuahua by like 6 or 7 goals and then hung tough, and there was a last-minute empty netter that pushed things to, you know, a 3 or 4 goal lead against Monterey, but not a 16-goal swing in our goal differential.
Yeah, it was pain regardless, but it was just.
Now we got to find something positive to take out of this.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
Nope.
You know, it's positive.
Nothing.
We're back in the States and we play Harrisburg on Friday.
You're really gonna jinx it now. You've done did it now.
Yes, my joke about that being a good thing is what's going to do it. Now,
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
My bright spot once. I'm sticking with Nilton. He had another good weekend, 3 points. He's got 18 points in 17 games. We found a good rookie. And he's continued to perform. Like, he hasn't been a flash in a pan.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, with Alex Gomez, you know, we've basically only seen one thing with him.
Yeah.
One time. And obviously I would love to see more.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that if I had to have one, it would be Double G, Gordy Gerson. You know, he came in and he got another 2 goals in the Monterrey game.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if he got one against Chihuahua.
Yeah, he had a goal and an assist.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now he's already surpassed his last season with Milwaukee. Back in his last season with Milwaukee, you know, he had already played 22 games.
Yeah.
He had 14 goals and 4 assists. He has 17 and 16 in 17 games. So, I mean, he is already far surpassed what he had even in the past 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that's awesome. You know, I want to see more from Double G. So he's definitely, he has shown that he was absolutely a good pickup this season.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we need to retain him, please.
Yeah, hopefully he wants to stick around after this year. That was a good find, certainly, bringing him in by Tommy. And I think I don't remember if you did, but I know a few years ago when, like, he and Frank were free agents after the Tayu brothers were done in Monterrey, and the Orlando Seawolves collapsed mid-season and disappeared.
Yes.
But like, I'm on social media like, hey, you know what? You guys look good in blue on blue turf in the frozen central New York. I know you're leaving the South, but come on. Best fans in the MASL.
And then Tayu, of course, was Ontario.
Yep.
/ now the Strikers.
And Gordy was like, I'm staying in Florida where it's warm.
Where it's nice and toasty.
Yeah, can't blame you.
And hurricanes.
Hey, so before we talk about this weekend, did you listen to the Blue Turf podcast with the interview with Zach Reggett?
I missed that one.
You're going to want to listen to it. He gets to air everything out about what happened in Florida. Obviously, there are 2 sides to this story, but unfortunately, we don't get to ask Clay Roberts his side this weekend if we were to see him, because he said a naughty and got red carded and will miss the game on Sunday.
Oh, he didn't just say a naughty. He literally chased down the refs into the locker room after the game and then gave them an earful. And I mean, there's even, you know, video showing him just having it out with fans. Like,
well, I can't talk about arguing with fans. I am jealous that Clay got to live out my lifelong dream of letting the refs hear what they deserve.
Yeah, I guess I can understand that, but coach, you're a coach. You're held to a You have to be held to a higher standard. So having it out with fans, having it out with refs, kind of a well-deserved red card.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that stuff. We can do it because we're stupid fans, but you can't do that. Although I will say, after he said whatever he said to the fans, I did watch him go back, and I'm assuming apologize to them. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, sorry, it was a heat of the moment thing. Didn't mean to say whatever I did. But again, that's just speculation based on the body language that I was watching on the broadcast.
Yeah, you're going to want to listen to that podcast. For anyone else listening, absolutely. I'll just sum it up quickly. From what Regat said, he was aware that there were trade talks going on for other players. It was his understanding that he was not on the trade market. There was a little tussle in practice. He's getting elbowed in the face a couple times. Guys got into it like they do. Just a little just wrestling match, nothing serious, no punches thrown. Hugged it out. Everything was good by the end of practice. Leaves for the day. Gets a call from Roberts. He goes, "Hey, you've been traded to Harrisburg."
Bye.
Yep, that's it. No, didn't ask him. You're not performing. You're not scoring 5 goals a game. So, first of all, it's hilarious that when he played the Tropics the first time, he scored 5 goals against them, if that's what was actually said.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell he was clearly frustrated by the fact that, he just signed a 2-year extension there.
Yep.
And it sounded like a lot of lack of communication from the franchise's side. Well, if you were expecting me to score 5 goals a game, how come nobody told me that was what was expected of me?
Yeah, really.
I'm in these captains meetings with you. I'm going over strategy. I'm talking about roster construction. And you don't even give me the courtesy that you gave these other guys, being like, "Hey, you're on the trading block." He goes, "Oh, yeah, we thought you wouldn't handle it well. You're kind of soft mentally."
Wow.
More or less is what came across. Yeah. So the hatchet clearly isn't buried there.
No.
He'll be in KC for another season. It was a 2-year contract that he signed with Florida, but you know who his coach was his rookie season, right?
No.
Everton Moreira.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. So if he can't get his championship in Kansas City, and this team gets a consistent defense and consistent offense in the next year and a half, maybe looking for one more piece to put him over the top, a guy that scores 20 plus goals to go alongside Kid Dynamite might not be the worst thing.
Might not be too bad.
Now, maybe he left St. Louis for Florida because of issues with Everton. We don't know, because you never know how players and coaches are going to, go behind closed doors. But no, definitely listen to the Blue Turf. They do a weekly thing like us, and it includes their color commentary guy, Eric Bergrud. Not on this interview; it's a one-on-one, but boy, was it a good listen.
Yeah, I still have to catch up on my podcasts. Although it's not a podcast, but the MSL Monday with Philly and Tim. I still need to go back.
As a podcast. You can listen to MASL Monday as a podcast.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the same effect.
I have it queued up so it loads Monday night, and I can listen to it on my drive home.
Yeah, I just know that I need to go back and listen / or watch it. Because
you're thinking MASL Insider.
Yeah, that's what it was.
They had Vanzella on this past week, which I kind of zoned out a little bit, but if I caught the part that I listened to correctly, well, I listened to the whole thing, but Vanzella basically got a chance to try out for Syracuse, and then they didn't sign him, and he ended up in Baltimore.
Oh boy, that's a missed opportunity right there.
Back in 2012.
Ugh. Well, we know that they would be kicking themselves at this point if they think about it.
Yeah, it was and again, like for anyone listening to us as we kind of go off on tangents, like those are two great podcasts to listen to. Striking Fury, Blue Turf, MASL Monday. There's Soccer's Overtime. I don't know if the Wave does anything.
I mean, just in the box.
Yeah, their shows are kind of erratic at this point, though. Matt and Adam got conflicting schedules.
I mean, it happens.
But I guess we should get back on track.
Nah.
Talk about this weekend.
Why, want to jinx us more?
It'll be the third weekend in a row where Utica plays two games. These ones are away on Friday night at Harrisburg, and then at home Sunday against Florida.
You want me to throw you a depressing fact?
Sure.
It's the last time we go to Harrisburg this season, and it's, I believe, the last time that Florida comes to us this season.
Yes.
Because we basically have, the rest of our season is home and away, home and away, home and away, home and away.
Yes.
So
we play Harrisburg twice, Florida twice, and Baltimore twice.
Yep.
Once at home, once on the road against everyone.
Yeah, a series. Yep.
Yeah, it's wrapping up quickly.
Sadness.
Which is why every point's going to matter, especially with St. Louis only 3 behind us now.
Yeah.
But Friday, down in Harrisburg, back at the Equine Arena at the Farm Show Complex, 7:30, 5 p.m. We just saw Harrisburg not too long ago. We beat them 6-5. There's a little bit of a scrum. Someone's hair got pulled out. Mijatovic hurt some feelings.
That was not on purpose. I can almost guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
I will take that. I will stand on my soapbox and say he didn't do it on purpose. He did do it, but not on purpose.
Yep. How do we see this one going? Because it's now the 5th time we've seen them this year. And we are 4-0 against them. We are 10-0 going back through last season.
Every single time that we go against Harrisburg, I say, we're going to beat them by 3. And you know what we do? We beat them by 1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say we're going to beat them by 1.
Okay.
I don't care if it's 4-3, which it's been in the past. It's been 6-5. It's been all sorts of different ones. But half the time it's by 1. Get 1 free. So I'm going to say we're winning by 1.
Okay. Well, this game will take place on March 10th. Harrisburg has not played since the 25th. So it'll be 3, almost 2 weeks between games for them. I expect there to be a little bit of rust, kind of like, I don't know if you watched it last night, but between the
Empire and Chihuahua.
Empire and Chihuahua, yeah.
Don't you use that. Put
I was going to
money in a swear jar.
It wasn't going to be a swear jar. I wasn't going to say the F word, but I was going to say Ontario. It was going to be the Ontario Strikers.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure it was.
Yeah, the OMS.
I'm telling.
Okay.
I'm not
on their pod, so it doesn't count.
I'm going to tell Philly and the doctor. I'm telling on you. Wow. They're going to sick Panda on you and beat you up.
Well, I'll go talk to Striker because snitches get stitches. Or Keeper. I don't know which one's more terrifying to you. Or Maui. We're in Harrisburg. Okay. Maybe that Maui guy will be back.
I'm sorry. Maui wins in the scary category.
I got to dig that photo back up again and just post it on social media so everyone knows, like, oh yeah, this is what that Maui looked like.
At least that is not our mascot. Not that it was their mascot either, but
it just happened to be there.
I'll take keeper over that.
Well, I expect the Heat to come out a little rusty in this one. And if Utica can go back to doing what they do best, which is scoring in quick bursts, they can build a lead that will be safe against the Heat. But it has to be in the first quarter, maybe first quarter and a half.
Well, since you brought it up, as for the Chihuahua and Empire, since you brought this one up, it definitely rust plays a factor.
Yeah,
we saw it in that game. I don't know if you watched the whole thing, but like the first half of the game, Empire was rusty, and it had been 17 days since they had been at home.
Yeah.
So, and actually, I don't know when the last game was before that. I'd have to look. But, rust we'll call it ring rust, is a thing. So it definitely can play a factor. And I agree with you wholeheartely that the best time to take advantage of that is in the first quarter or two of the game. Yeah, I mean, they hadn't played since the 19th. So it'd have been even longer for them.
Last time we went down there, we didn't have Nate playing. He looks healthy. Hopefully, Logan will be back. Toby should be back. Like, he wasn't even on the injury report last weekend, which is why I'm pretty sure it was visa related.
Yeah.
So he should be back, and Steph is already cleared. I don't know if you saw the Insta story I posted today of Juggernaut.
No, I didn't see that.
I tagged him in it, and I was like, whatever his Instagram handle is, Mijatovic headed back to Harrisburg after getting suspended there 2 weeks ago, and it's just Juggernaut charging.
No, I saw I had seen their social media with Steph and Bond, talking about having people at the arena
to push for the playoffs. Tickets to the last 3 home games for as cheap as $35 total.
Get your butts in the seats.
I like Utica in this one.
It's hard not to, considering the track record.
Yeah. If it ends up a 1-goal game, it's going to be because we give up a goal versus 6 attacker. I really see this being a 2-goal game.
Okay.
We get that lead early, and then as long as our defense is back, we'll be fine. Nothing against Keaton and Alex and Gio. They played their roles well, to the best they could over these past 3 games.
Yep.
But it's not the same as having Nate and Logan and Toby and Steph out there.
Yeah, again, just based on the track record, that's the only reason that I made my decision for 1 goal is the fact that every time I've said anything more, we've won by 1. So, hey, maybe if I say we're going to win by 10, then maybe we'll win by 5.
That's big brain energy right there.
That might be Galaxy brain. I was going to say slack draw gigabrain.
They should have Tetsani playing in this one, who we didn't see last time, and he's pretty good at scoring out of the back, so that could be something to watch for. But
yeah, like I said, hopefully at least a little bit of the rust is there.
Yeah,
just to help us along, help us kind of maybe pad that goal differential you're so fond of.
I just want it to not look so bad.
Well, now it looks worse.
Luckily, regulation wins come into play before anything else does.
Yep.
and all of our wins are in regulation. Which, St. Louis can't say, so we have that on them. 18 by 7. Yeah, it goes points, regulation wins, total wins, then head-to-head, then goal differential. You look confused. St. Louis has 19 points in 18 games.
Yeah.
One of those points came from an overtime loss, so that leaves them at 18. That's 7 wins. But if you do 7 wins times 3 points, that'd be 21 points.
The way you made it sound is that we hadn't been in overtime, and
no,
it's like, no, we've been in overtime and we've
six
won.
Of our wins are in regulation. So
yeah.
They're at,
regulation wins is yeah. Okay.
They're at 4 because that's 12, and then no,
we have 8 wins.
They have
6 regulation wins. We have 2.
Whereas they have 4 regulation wins, and then 3 overtime wins, and then 1 overtime loss to get them to 19 points.
Mm-hmm.
But if we could pad a couple more regulation wins in there.
Which I actually had to explain to someone the other day that we didn't actually go into overtime against Baltimore.
Yeah.
When we were home. They thought we did. And we just were awarded a shootout when in reality it was still part of regulation.
Yep.
I actually had someone very, very confused by that. But that's just the reality of it.
Because it happened with 0.1 seconds left on the clock.
Yes, it did.
And then we go to Sunday. And familiar foes and familiar faces make their way back to the Odd in the Florida Tropics. Since the last time we've played them, we basically swapped Joey Tavernese for Taylor Walter Bond.
Yep. With
a pit stop for Taylor Bond in Harrisburg. Let's look back at that. So the first time we played them was a rough game, 9-3 down in Florida.
Yes.
And then we barely lost at home. Like, we gave up that last goal with what, like a minute 30 left in the game?
Yeah, there was basically no time left.
If you look at their points leaders, Carvalho has continued to impress. Vinny Dantas has a 20-point season. Drew Ruggles has a 20-point season. Pereiras, though he's been dealing with injuries, he has a 20-point season. They unloaded Reggett, but they added Tavernese, who, he's only got 1 assist in the 3 games, so he hasn't been that focal to them.
Mm-hmm. So here's what I'm going to say about this.
Yeah.
They haven't played us since we actually got a defense.
That is true.
They have not played us since we got... Well, they did play us when we had Logan. But, yeah. They haven't played us since we got Toby and Steph. And that defense has been a totally different monster when those two were on the turf.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think those two will be a factor in that game. Just don't get another red card, Steph, okay? Please. No fighting against Harrisburg. Bad. So, yeah, I think that will become a factor. The fact that he was not there. Him and Toby were not there for our first couple of meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that will cut some of their scoring power and will allow us to, of course, get some of our own.
Right.
That's the hope anyway. I still think it's going to be a close game. I think this one's going to be close. I think it's going to be more like our second meeting with them, not the first.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first was like the first one was kind of like when the team was just kind of getting things sorted. It was literally our
fourth game of the year.
Yeah. So, I still feel like the team was still getting things sorted at that point. Trying to find that offensive style that we had going.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I hope that it's not going to be like that. So, in my mind, I just see both games this weekend being won, being a game by one, one score. I'm gonna put it in favor of Utica because I'm a positive person apparently, and I want to believe that we're going to come out with 2 wins this weekend. I'm going to say Florida's in overtime though.
Okay.
I'm going to say maybe we end up coming back from a deficit against Florida at home. Because we've seen the impact the crowd can make.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to go with. +1. It's going to be overtime win. I'll even give you a score. It's going to be low, I think. I think it's going to be 5-4. I think it's going to be 5-4 Utica in overtime.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely a winnable game for Utica. Absolutely. Our special team, surprisingly, we have the better power play attack than they do, considering how many weapons they've had on offense.
Yep.
And I will say it's a little misleading when you look at the goal differential, because you see Florida's at 5, +5, and Utica's at -28.
Yep.
You can erase that deficit if we play 4 games that competitively. If we don't lose by 6 to Monterey, 10 to Chihuahua, 7 to Baltimore, and then 6 to Florida, all of which were on the road, by the way.
Yep.
That's 29 goals.
Yeah, that's basically our whole differential.
We are a much better team at home.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Everyone in the East is this year. Everyone. There's not a single team in the East with a winning record on the road.
Nope. Yeah,
there are only 3 teams with more than 1 road win. And 2 of them are ahead of us, and the third one is us.
Yeah, it's definitely been a very home-oriented season for all of the teams in the East.
Mm.
If you're not at home, you're struggling. That's just how it's played out. So, yeah, every team in the East really has been struggling on the road. So that could play into our favor.
Yeah, Florida's 3-5-1 on the road. One of those wins was at Utica, and it took a goal with 1:30 left to do it. One of them, I got to remember which one it was, because I know they went to overtime in Harrisburg, and I can't remember if they won that or lost that.
Which one?
Florida at Harrisburg. I'm looking up their scores now. Okay, they go to Kansas City. They lose by 6 in that revenge game for Reggett.
Mm-hmm.
They go to Milwaukee. They lose by 2. The same thing that we did, 7-5. Boy, that score's familiar.
Yeah, very familiar.
Yeah, they lost in overtime at Harrisburg.
Yeah, because that was the weekend that Harrisburg went off. Baltimore and Florida.
Their wins on the road have come against us, Dallas, and Baltimore to start the year. And the only one of those that was a convincing win was an 8-4 win against Dallas.
Which
the other 2 were 1-goal games.
Which this season, going against Dallas is not a huge It's not exactly an impressive thing. I wish we were playing Dallas, although then we'd probably give them a win. With our luck.
Yeah, it's a very winnable game for Utica.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2 goals here again.
Nice.
Florida, yeah, they'll have a little more rest because they won't have played since last Saturday. They won't have their head coach, which who knows how much that affects things. I mean, it was a Leo Gibson-less Kansas City team that came in, was down 5 goals, and then stormed back to win before the pandemic.
Yeah.
That left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. But we go back to that preview for Sunday because I don't know. I'm looking forward to Mijatovic and Ruggles going at it.
That's going to be that's going to be a very entertaining matchup.
Like two very heated guys that will both work to get the other guy's star attackers off their game.
Yep.
But if you need an enforcer at either time, anytime, both of those guys will. I got a feeling just right here.
Absolutely. No, that'll be an interesting matchup between those two.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Look, that's what I thought. I'm looking at the save percentages this year, and Navarrette's got a 7.89 save percentage, and Coughlin's got a 6.6. Or Navarrete has a 6.89, and Coughlin's got a 6.69. So it's literally 2% difference.
Okay.
They're very close. Differences is goals allowed against, and we can, like we talked about, there were some blowout games that Utica got killed on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very winnable game at home, especially.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, do I see it being more than one? For me personally, no. But would it be nice? Yeah, of course. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think that's why I think it's just going to be by one.
Yeah. I can respect that. But.
Good.
Great. Fantastic. But we're both hoping for 2 wins this weekend, which with the ambush... Okay, the ambush plays in Harrisburg on Sunday. So they only have one game again.
I believe that's doable.
Yeah.
2 wins on the weekend.
I guess quick mention, the season, I don't know if you guys got them. I got them. I know at least one other person got it. The season ticket renewal emails have gone out. You have until May 5th. They mentioned something about a fan discount program for local restaurants, which fingers crossed will hopefully include 72 for those post-game get-togethers.
That would be nice.
And as we mentioned, there's only 3 home games and 3 road games left.
Which is crazy that things are winding down so quickly.
Yeah, we got to get... I don't know if it can happen, but Utica's either got to win on the road or has to climb into that 4 hole so that we can get a home playoff game this year, because it's been since 2019 since Utica's had one.
Yeah, it was our first season.
Yeah, because then I went pandemic, missed it by 1 game last year.
Pain. That's what it was. Pain.
But it feels like a lifetime ago at this point.
It does.
And they are Florida this weekend, Harrisburg next Sunday, and then the Baltimore Blast Saturday, April 1st. That is a 7 p.m. kickoff to close out the season.
I'll say that's our final game, right?
Yes.
Didn't we start it against Baltimore?
Down in Baltimore.
We started our season against Baltimore. We're ending it against Baltimore.
There's a reason these teams don't like each other.
Yeah. Because we have to see each other all the time.
Yeah, we do.
All right, time to get into expansion team in the East.
Yeah,
15,
the West is 15. Getting 2. It's time to get some in the East.
Yeah.
Vegas and Guadalajara.
So it's time to get an expansion team in the East. I mean, last was it last year? year before we had Rochester.
Yep.
But then we lost Rochester.
Which, if Rochester can find a way back into a bigger arena, great.
Yeah, I would love to have Rochester back. They were fun. That was a fun little road trip.
Yep. If Rochester can come back, and I don't know, you got that MISL league that I don't know how they're doing. I watched a couple games last year, but what is it, with like Columbus and Memphis? The Memphis Americans. Oh, the NISL, sorry. The National Indoor Soccer League. Teams League. I like that they have men's and women's divisions, but outside of that, I don't think they've done anything all that. So you got Central Florida, Memphis, Columbus, Fayetteville, and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I would just like to see, that I think that's one of the unfortunate things about our league is that we see the same teams play over and over and over. And as much as I love watching our guys play, I would like to be able to see anyone else that we play against. So having more variety would be nice.
And I know a lot of it comes down to like travel costs, but you're telling me we couldn't get a weekend where we went to Casey in Missouri and a weekend where they came here and played us in Harrisburg or something like that?
Yeah.
Instead of because it's lopsided. We played Milwaukee 3 times, but 2 of them were on the road. We only played St. Louis once at home. We don't see Casey at all. Just a little more balance.
Yeah, agreed.
I think if we play, depending on what the expansions look like next year and how they balance the East and the West, or if we go back to 3 divisions, like if you play those guys 4 times each, that's half your season.
Yeah.
Then you can play, home and home with 4 other teams, and now you're at 20 games, and then you just play 4 other teams once.
Easy. Makes things easy, and it switches things up. Yep. No, I would absolutely take that.
That's not up for us to decide.
No, it is not, but we can dream.
So, anything else we want to touch on this weekend?
I got nothing. Go Utica. Let's get back in the win column.
Let's get back to 500.
Yeah, with 2 wins, we would be back to 500, wouldn't we?
Then let's stay there or better through the rest of the season.
Forever.
All right. As always, thank you for listening. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We got that TeePublic store. Episodes are out every Thursday, as long as I don't upload the wrong file like last week.
The 6-minute podcast.
I forgot to set the start and end to the whole thing instead of just the initial 5 minutes that it sets up for. And it didn't click as I'm like, wow, that processed really fast. Cool. Oh, great. It uploaded super fast. I can go to bed. Great. It didn't click that, I missed 50 minutes of it.
The bulk of it. Yeah, that's only enough time for like a tangent.
Yeah, we got so many tangents and cosines and sines.
Listen, I have it on good authority that people enjoy our tangents. Thank you very much.
Well, that's wonderful news because we're going on a math one right now with all those jokes that I just made.
Math.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and we will see you guys on Sunday at the Odd. Thanks for listening.
Go Utica.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to us so you never miss an episode. If that podcast app also has reviews, be sure to leave us 5 stars to let us know how we're doing and reach a larger audience. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Keeper Corners Pod. And you can always find us there talking UCFC soccer. Thanks again for the support. It's truly appreciated. One last thing. Go Utica.